All right, so all three of these cards, the sentiments are from this stamp set here. But what I like to do with this particular stamp set is to ink the entire thing with my embossing ink, and then emboss the entire thing, and then cut it into little strips and bits so that I have a ton of sentiments ready to go anytime I'm doing cards like this. So I'm going to do an entire sheet to show you exactly how I do it. Now for this one, I'm doing them on white paper and I'm embossing with silver embossing powder simply because I haven't done one with those colors yet. The ones that I'm using on the cards are either gold embossing powder or white embossing powder. The process is exactly the same, so nothing changes. Oops, nothing changes in the process depending on the paper and the embossing color. It's all the same. So I'm going to put this upside down just so I have this to hold on to. And I'm using Versamark ink. So it's a perfect ink for staying wet for a little while so that the powder can stick to it while you are heating it and embossing it, which is basically melting it. I want to make sure that it's nice and coated in ink. I'm just going to lay my paper on top of it. And I'm using a full sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper here. It's not going to stamp the entire thing, but it gives me a good section of the sheet to hold on to. And I hold on to it in some areas and then rub in others so that it doesn't accidentally shift. And then I'm going to lift it straight up so it doesn't shift. And then pour powder on it. It's going to stick to that stamped ink. I can kind of see where the edge of it is. And I'm pouring a ton of powder on there. Anything that doesn't stick to the ink is going to go on this scrap piece of paper here. And then it's going to go right back into the container. All right, and now I'm going to emboss. So as you're embossing, you can see where it's not melted, it is matte and dull, and where it is melted, it's nice and shiny. So you can see as it changes, as it embosses, it's very easy to see. There we go, we're all done. So you can see there are some, like here, and then there's some right here that didn't stamp perfectly. I just take this and I cut it up and I keep the ones that stamped perfectly and embossed perfectly. Anything that didn't work, if there's something within that sentiment that I can keep to use, I will keep it, otherwise I'll just toss it. But in the end, this ends up saving me time because I have a ton of sentiments to choose from rather than stamping them and embossing them all individually. So there you go.